As long as Billy the Kid is taking some back, I'm with him.
Everything all right, Mr. Chisholm?
Yes, everything's fine. Go on and bring the men in, and we'll have a little fresh coffee with the boys here.
Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous.
All right, guys, this is Keith and Caroline, and this is the I'll Make You Famous podcast. And we're just jamming out to the sounds of Sean Fury. But Caroline, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
How are you today, Keith?
I'm doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. We were just talking before the show, and I was asking you about some of your favorite movies, because Spider-Man just came out. I haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it, Spider-Man?
No, I have not.
I can't wait to see it. I've just been lacking.
I heard it was very good.
Yeah.
The best.
And we were asking each other our favorite movies. I was like, I'll wait till we get on air and we'll talk about our favorite movies. And you were telling me your favorite movie is what?
The Notebook?
The Notebook. All right.
It's one of my favorite.
One of your favorite
movies, yeah.
All right. Tell me a little bit about The Notebook.
You've never seen it?
I've never seen The Notebook.
Okay. Rachel McAdams plays, I think her name's Allie.
Okay.
And then Ryan Gosling is like the other main character.
Is he the heartthrob?
He's the heartthrob of the movie. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
The premise is pretty much that Rachel McAdams comes from like a family with money, and they obviously want her to marry someone who's like
Ryan Gosling.
No, they don't want her to marry Ryan Gosling.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
No, he's just like a field worker, he works. I don't know. It's set in older times, maybe like the 50s, 60s.
Oh, okay. There's no black people around.
I'm not gonna comment on that. I don't
Were
know.
there slaves in this movie?
No, there
was
was
a slave movie. Is this a diary of a black slave?
There's no slaves in the movie.
And you wiped it up and called it The Notebook?
There's no slaves at the movie who went to the Notebook.
Wow, this movie sounds racist.
So basically, the story keeps switching from the past to the present. The present day is like when they're a lot older, so this is the love story of them.
Are there black people in the present day?
Maybe, but they don't show them on camera.
This Notebook movie has some explaining to do. Alright.
So she pretty much, I don't know, I guess like it's like a Romeo and Juliet situation where she shouldn't love him, but she does, and their love is very like, they argue a lot, but they're very passionate, and they love each other, and yada, yada, yada. And basically, in her like old age, she has like dementia. And he's basically reading back to her the story of everything they've cataloged over the years.
So she fell for the yard guy, Ryan Gosling, the one she wasn't supposed to marry, then got dementia and started forgetting about him?
Well, yeah, no, she doesn't get dementia when she's like young. She gets dementia like later on. Like they already get married, they have kids, and then she gets
so
old.
what is the meat and potatoes of the story about? I mean, so she meets some yard kid, and then she meets a struggling yard boy in the 50s and wifes him up, and then...
Well, no, not right away. It's like she meets this other guy who's more handsome, who's like in the war, and she's like his nurse, and she's taking care of him. So she like dates him for a little while. Honestly, I'm forgetting some details here. I don't know if she dates yard boy, then the other guy, and then goes back to yard boy, or if she dates handsome fellow first. No, she definitely dates yard boy first, and then her family is like, you can't be with him. So then she meets this other guy later on, and I don't think she loves him.
Was he black?
No, nobody is black.
Jesus Christ.
No one's Chinese either.
What war was it where there was no Chinese? In the 50s, you sure? They might have called them something different, but I think there was Chinese people around. All right, I mean, The Notebook, it sounds to me like a love story based around...
Yeah, that's what it is.
She's telling you back a love story, how she remembers it.
It's all like written in like a journal. He like reads it to her because you know what I'm just remembering too. She was with the handsome.
So she slept with both of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think she gets married to him.
Did Ryan Gosling get decide?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he got a lot of side.
No, yeah, he is the side.
But does he get it? Does he sleep with anybody else the whole time?
No.
He's just waiting for the rich girl to come back.
Yeah, like, well, he, like, builds an entire house for her. An entire house that looks exactly as she describes as, like, her dream house. They're not together, and he, like, dedicates, like, a lot of his life building this house for her.
Oh, so Ryan Gosling's a sucker.
He's a simp, 100%.
Oh, wow, he just simped. I mean, that's simp move of the year, but, you know, it works, I guess.
I think she's, like, with the other guy and then hooks up with Ryan Gosling. They have, like, this whole heated moment where she's like, I miss you, you're my one true love.
So what does the Notebook have to do with anything?
Because the Notebook is cataloging the whole entire story.
How she was a
that.
thought and then strung along with Ryan Gosling? I mean,
kinda, a little bit.
So some thought strung along with some simp. That's what it should have been called.
She's been dedicated the whole time, and she definitely hoed around a little bit.
It should have been called The Thought and the Simp instead of The Notebook. That's what it should have been called.
Instead
The Thought
of
and the
Lady
Simp.
and the Tramp.
Yes, The Thought and the Simp.
The Thought.
Yeah. I don't like it. All right, well, since you're talking about love stories, you mentioned before that you've never seen the Titanic.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen it.
Brilliant drama.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a drama that takes place in a boat. A wealthy man, Billy Zane, a wealthy man, is seduced by this girl, Rose's mother. She's like, hey, if you marry my daughter, you know, that'll help our family out and give us wealth. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it'll be good for our family, you know, if you marry our young, you know, hot daughter. And he's like, all right, I'll do you the favor. They go on this boat called the Titanic. While they're there, she starts whoring around with some little fucking little boat boy.
Leonardo
DiCaprio's character. She starts whoring around with him under Billy Zane's nose.
Oh.
And within like 48 hours, she's already fucking canoodling with Leo. Meanwhile, Billy Zane, you know, leaving him high and dry after he's doing right by her and her family. She wouldn't even be on that boat if it wasn't for Billy Zane's character.
But she's kind of using him too, because she clearly doesn't even love him. She's just using him for his money.
This was 1912. Women didn't have a lot of rights at the time. She was lucky to be there, honestly. She was really lucky to be there. 1912?
That's messed up.
Like you're on the Titanic. Like, this guy's whining and dining you and bringing you to the fucking Titanic. You got the nerve to cheat on with some fucking street kid? I mean, it's...
Well, what else did she have to offer? Just that she's
nothing.
like hot?
She had nothing to offer. She was just a redheaded girl named Rose. And I don't blame Leo's character. He had nothing to lose. You know what I mean? He's
right, like he was
Jack.
hot.
His name is Jack in the story. Jack is just a kid who's like, oh, I wouldn't mind a little boat puss. And you know, and he's like, all right.
Does she spend time with the Billy Zane character at all? Or just
I mean,
like
here and there, not really. Like, she kind of curbs him the whole time. He's like, listen, I'm doing you a favor. Why are you acting like this? Like, and she doesn't say like, oh, I like this kid that I met like 24 hours ago. Instead, she strings them both along.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then, you know, yada, 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 the story moves on. And Rose, once again, very selfish girl, the boat goes down. If she had stuck with Billy Zane, she could have been in one of there was like 15 rafts that she could have got into, like safety boats.
Yeah.
Instead, she runs off with Jack. They get stranded, and there's like, I mean, there's a board about the size of this table, right?
Yeah.
And she's laying on it.
It's a door.
Yeah, it's like a door the size of this table. And it's, I would say maybe 8 feet by 4 feet. So, huge door, like cathedral door. And she's laying on it. And Jack's like, hey, is there room for me?
That's like a known thing with the Titanic. Like, it's a meme, like people laying down on the floor on outlines of doors, like arguing that they both would
because it was a big ass door.
Yeah.
And she was just like, no, kind of like, water's cold, and I'm a little sleepy, like, and he was like, oh, well, I'm kind of like freezing to death in the Atlantic over here, like,
can I please
get a little bit of that door? And she was just like, can't hear you, boat bitch, like, bye, and like pushes him off, and he fucking slides into the murky depths, and
he dies.
And he dies.
Freezing to death.
And she winds up like getting saved eventually, and then this ungrateful whore, she gets this big ass diamond, right?
From Billy Zane character's like family.
It was a necklace that maybe she found or she stole it. I don't know. I think she stole it. So she stole this necklace, or Billy Zane gave it to her. One of the two. She either stole it or Billy Zane gave it to her. And when she's old, she's like 1,000 years old at the end of the movie. And instead of giving the jewelry to her family, you know what I mean? You know, passing it down, you know, to, you know, it was big rubies and everything on the motherfucker.
Yeah.
She throws it back into the Atlantic just for nostalgia about Jack. She
Just tosses it.
She knew Jack for 48 hours and acted like she lost the love of her life. It was like, what are you doing?
Well, maybe it was like true love. I mean, obviously she loved him more than this other guy that she was running off with him the whole entire time anyway.
Billy Zane was the best thing that ever happened to that girl. He was hot. I mean, people like to make this thing like, oh, well, you know, look how hot Jack was, Leo's character. I'm like, Billy Zane is Billy Zane. Like, Billy Zane is hot, you know, especially at the time. And he had money, and then you run off with Boat Kid. It just...
Well, did she have like a choice? Was her mom like, you're going on this cruise, you're gonna be with this guy? Was that like part of it? It was the biggest thing. Like the defiance of like, no, I'm not gonna just be with who you tell me to be with, Mom.
If you have an opportunity to go on the Titanic or not go on the Titanic, you go on the Titanic. I mean, it was like going to the Lindenberg. It's like you can go. You know what I mean? You can go. You know, it's one of the nice wonders of the world at the time, probably. It's like, wow, the biggest boat ever. And, you know, we're gonna go on it. Like, you just go. You know, fuck the iceberg. You know? Yeah, so it's a story about a girl, a floozy like street girl who couldn't keep her legs shut and just do as her parents told her, and then she was very selfish and killed a kid and wasted money. That's really what it's all about. One selfish girl's rise to power, really, because I mean she lived to be like 1,000 and she had money and what looks like it whatnot. She had enough money to be throwing jewelry in the water. Maybe she had dementia too, like the girl in the Notebook.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say there's a lot of parallels between the Titanic.
She might have had dementia too, and they didn't say anything. You're right. I think there's a dementia aspect that I wasn't quite thinking about.
Not the dementia, but like both of them being torn between two people and being kind of selfish about it.
Right.
Like she took Noah. Noah is who Ryan Gosling plays.
Okay.
For granted.
Gotcha.
Like you were already with him, and then you remarried this other guy who was like hot. Meanwhile, he's building you like a whole house. She did end up with him anyway.
See, but this time, she didn't end up with either one of them. You know
Rose
what I mean?
just was like, nah, you're not allowed to hop on this door. It's fine.
Yeah. She wound up getting back with Billy Zane. I don't know. But Billy Zane's character, I think his name was Calderon or something like that. But he was the main part of the story. Jack, kind of a footnote. You know, then Rose's, just, open her legs for every Tom, Dick, and Harry she comes across, floozing about.
So it's not the gorgeous love story that everybody knows and loves. This is your take on it?
It is. I mean, if she had stuck with Billy Zane, yeah, it'd have been a gorgeous love story. But
so you don't think the love between her and Leonardo was real at all? Rose and Jack?
I mean, she got selfish with she didn't want to see him live. She didn't invite him onto the door. I mean, there was room for two. And she kind of just like, and then right after he died, she took a nap. Really? She pushed him off the thing and took a nap. She
pushed him, or he couldn't hold on.
They were holding hands, and then she was like, all right, my hands are cold, and she went like that, and then he fucking slipped into the abyss and died. And then she just took a nap. And then she was like, all right, now I'm sleepy. Just took a nap right on the door.
Maybe she was exhausted. It was a traumatic experience.
From laying on the door? What was the exhaustion from? She was laying on the door?
No, when the ship is sinking, it's a lot of anxiety and things were flying everywhere, and she
selfishly chose to ride it out on a door with Jack instead of getting in a lifeboat with Calderon, Billy Zane. I mean, I don't know.
Well, then wouldn't you say that she then deserves it? She doesn't deserve Billy Zane? Doesn't that make you feel better?
She didn't deserve Jack either, but she let him die. Oh. She deserved nothing. And got everything.
I'm going to rewatch this. Or watch it for the first time.
Instead of the Titanic, it should have been called Karen on the Boat.
Karen?
Karen on the Boat is what it should have been called. 1912 story of the first Karen on a boat.
The first Karen would be
just selfish, always trying to get her way. Just... I mean, I look back at it, I'm like, the movie sickens me. It's a selfish girl's rise.
So do you think in general when people are have fond feelings for the movie that they feel bad for Jack, or do they feel bad for Rose? Because I know that...
They feel bad for Billy.
I don't think
mean-
anybody even knows Billy.
Billy Zane's Calvin.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he's the main. It should have been. It should have been.
How Billy got fucked over.
Yeah. How Rose screwed over Calderon is what it should have been called. Because that's what she did. It was just like, oh, you selfish. Like, why are you being so selfish? Like, why? Your mom set you up. You'd have been good. You were set up. It's 1912. You're wearing fucking swashbuckler jeans and stuff. It's 1912. There's rats on the Titanic. Like, she could have got rickets, anything.
Now, is this a true story?
The Titanic?
Well, I know like the Titanic was an actual ship, but
Right.
like that it went down. But like,
Oh, the love story?
Yeah, there's a
No, I mean, they had there was a black band that played this whole time, really good, and Rose could have saved the band too, and she let them go down with the ship.
How could she have saved them?
There was ropes and lifeguard shit around, and she kind of selfishly just pushed the shit in the river off the side of the boat. Weird movie. It's like right now. You're hearing it from me now. It's a weird movie.
It's also long, I hear.
You see how many things I just told you? There's so many. There's the band. There's Calderon. A little bit about Jack, and then Rose is just doing. She's just the puppet master. She's just the puppet master. She really is.
Man.
Yeah. So that's movies, right? The Titanic and The Notebook. Do you have any dates coming up that you want to?
Yeah, January 14th.
January 14th,
Yeah,
we're going to be.
It's Friday. McGuire's in Bohemia.
Very nice, McGuire's. Love McGuire's.
Yes.
What
it's one of
time?
my favorite spots. I believe it's at 10:30.
10:30? All right.
Late night show.
All right. So, sounds good. Once I have something, I'll be at the Mohican in March.
Hell yeah.
Come check me out. That'll be nice.
March what? Outcome.
The fourth Thursday in March. I'm not quite sure. I got to look it up.
Okay. Oh, late
right.
March. Okay.
Yeah, late March, yeah. All right, so, that's I'll Make You Famous, and that's Movies with Keith and Caroline. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.